Hello, I'm Matthew Honestchuck, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's a coffee chat day, and this one I'm going to title Spiritual Phenomena in Conjunction with Manifestation. And we'll get into the manifestation portion in just a moment. But first, I'd like to address the two videos you just saw. These were shot in my backyard with a trail camera. And the first one you saw shows a point of light to the right of the screen that seems to do a bit of a somersault and then shoot off into the forest. And it only lasts for about 2 to 3 seconds. It's a very quick one. And the second video lasts a full minute. And in that one, there's 5 individual columns of light, and they seem to move in unison with one another, almost like they're line dancing. But when you look closely at the video as they're moving as a group, you can see individuated movements within each column of light, and they're different. And so I wanted to share those videos with you for a very specific reason. It's something that has occurred in my life, and this journey of mine of channeling is something that I truly want to remain open and share everything that I experience so that you understand what it's like to be on this side of the camera. Because I don't consider myself special or unique. I'm just learning a skill that every human has the ability to learn. And I seem to have a desire to want to do it. I enjoy it. And so those videos are part of that journey. And I'm going to share my interpretation with you in just a moment and a little bit of history as to how they came about. But what I would like for you to do is to watch them again and watch them without listening to my interpretation and see what comes to you. Before you watch the rest of this video and hear the history of what I'm about to share with you, watch this again and ask yourself, what are you seeing? What is your perception? And if you have anything you'd like to share, leave them in the comments because I value your perception. Because my perception is not reality. I have filters and belief systems just like every other human being does. And so the way I see the world is through these eyes, but through those filters and through that psyche that is unique to myself. And so more perceptions help form a better interpretation of what we're seeing in these videos. Now, in terms of the history, what happened was about 9 months ago, as I was really getting into the beginning of my channel practice, I was starting to build relationships, so to speak, with the beings that were coming through, and they would share all this information with me and to the group and to you that I've shared the portion of the videos that I've shared to this point. And one of the things they suggested was that for me to build a small pyramid in my backyard. And the reason being is that the backyard of my house is situated on a ravine, so it's very quiet, it's full of animal life, and it's a very peaceful place to meditate or to channel. Or just to sit back and roast some marshmallows on a campfire, because we do that from time to time as well. And the suggestion of the pyramid was for me to build it with my own hands because it would put my energy into it, and to also put a gemstone into the pyramid however I formed it. So at first, being the person that I am, I can get very excited about things very quickly, but I also run into daily life, which is the demands of a father and a husband and a co-worker. And back in the summer last year, things were pretty hectic. So I had every intention to build it, but I didn't. I procrastinated. And then about a month later, the suggestion came through again. And this time it came through a little bit more strong and with a little sense of urgency, which I interpret to be, it's a breadcrumb on my trail that I'm following. And when breadcrumbs are dropped on your trail, you need to action those because it leads to the next one and to the next one. So there's a sequence of events that happen when you're trying to manifest a dream. And my dream had become to utilize my backyard as a space that would be safe, that would be high vibrational, that would be loving, and most importantly, would be inviting to these beings so that when I'm back there, whether I'm meditating or I'm channeling, that the connections would be stronger, that they would be more interpretive in terms of me understanding the information coming through and experiencing it. And also a desire to see them with these two eyes as opposed to esoterically. And the reason being is In my generation, when we were kids, a lot of us had pen pals. Now, I didn't, but a lot of my friends did, and my wife did too. And in those days, because there was no internet and no phone, if you communicated, it had to be through the mail. Otherwise, you had to pick up the phone and dial. But when you had a pen pal buddy in a foreign country, that was very expensive in those days. So you didn't call, you wrote. And it was encouragement to do this activity because it would help expose you as a young child to what it's like to live in a different country through the eyes and the experience of a child who's about the same age as you. And through this, you'd trade letters, and eventually you might get to the point where, at the age of 16 or 17, one or the other may travel to that other person's home country and live in their house, experience their parents, experience their food, experience their way of life. And it would be a wonderful mosaic to grow um, your understanding of the world at a young age. And this is what it's like for me with channeling. I channel these beings quite often, and I'm building relationships with them because it's energetic. I can feel their sense of personality. Some are very serious, some are very jovial. There's a whole bunch in between. And that's in addition to the information and the helpful guidance that they share verbally. And so I'm building a relationship with them. And so it seemed to be just a natural progression that as each month passed by and I kept practicing and having these connections, that I felt the desire to want to meet them. And I know that it's not for everybody, but for me, that's a dream. So whether it happens to be an extraterrestrial or an ascended master or an elemental, I had this desire to create in my backyard an energetic environment that was loving, caring, inviting, and highly vibrational. That if the possibility was ever to transpire, that it would happen there, it would happen for me to see them and be that next level up in my pen pal odyssey, so to speak. And so about 8 or 9 months ago, encouragement started to come through my channel group, and in the form of entities sharing with me things I could do to accomplish what I was trying to accomplish. And the first breadcrumb that they dropped on me was build a pyramid. It doesn't have to be big, but it needs to be hand built by you because you put your energy into it. It needs to have a crystal in it, but you choose from what it is you feel is right. And then put it in the backyard and meditate near it and see what happens. And so being the guy that I am, I procrastinated. And about a month later, when that suggestion came back, I then built it. And this time I built a form and I poured some concrete into it. So it's not a it's not a fancy, certainly not going to win any awards pyramid. But I also had a piece of white quartz that I had picked up on a fishing trip many years ago up north, because here in Canada, white quartz is quite prevalent on the Canadian Shield. So I just liked the look of it. Brought it home with me. So I inserted that into the wet concrete as it was drying. And then I took that pyramid and I placed it in my backyard and worked with it for about 2 or 3 weeks. And it was around that time a friend of mine who's a medium called me up just to have a chat, see how things are going and how's your life and how's mine. And she says to me, "What's going on with that pyramid in your backyard? I see all these sparks around it. There's something going on there at nighttime." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Nobody's noticed anything in my household, including myself." And she said, "You should put a camera up and record it and see if you can capture something." And so I tried that with this camera and found out very quickly that when you press the play button and you let it run, about an hour, hour and a half later, it just dies because the battery runs out. So that wasn't going to work. So in kicked my procrastination because I didn't know what to do, and I let it go. And then about another month passes, and I'm having another chat with my friend, and she says, "Have you done something about that camera? Because I'm seeing lots of sparks now." And I said, "No, I haven't. But now that you're on me, I'm going to do something." And being a hunter and fisherman, it occurred to me that if I go buy $100 trail camera that records video and hang it in my backyard, that would probably be the most cost-effective and most efficient way to do it. And so that's what I did. Bought myself a little trail camera, set it up, and for about the first month, I was recording lots of little animals and different types of creatures that walk through my backyard in the nighttime, because the camera shoots in night mode, which is infrared. So it's almost like night vision. So when whether it's an animal or human or something triggers the camera to turn on, it will record for a minute, but it doesn't shoot any light out in the dark, yet it can still see into the dark, which I thought was kind of cool. And we captured that first video of the first video I showed you, which is that dot of white light that does a somersault and takes off into the forest. And as soon as I saw that, I knew that it was an elemental being. I wasn't sure what type of elemental being, whether it was, a fairy or a leprechaun or something of that nature, but I knew that it was, because that's just the way that my energy felt it. Your interpretation may be different, and I'm happy to listen to what it is, because again, one perception does not make reality. So I took that video, I showed my wife, and before I hit the play button, the light is quite bright and it's kind of squarish, and she says it looks like a house. And as soon as my wife said that, I went, oh, that's the other breadcrumb that was mentioned to me a few months ago. And that was, if you want to encourage the elementals to propagate in your backyard, bring in some little fairy houses that you can get that encourages them to be there. And it wasn't something that was in my forte, but I decided to do that. So I bought one, and that one led to another one that I bought, which was actually a handmade one from Ireland. And in that one, that was crazy because it came in a box and the front of it had shaled off because it's all handmade with stone and mortar. It must have got kicked around on delivery to my house from Ireland, and the front had shaled off. All the rocks are in the bottom of the box. When I opened it up, I'm like, oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. But again, through my channeling gift, I was meditating one day, and the elemental realm came and said, we wanted it to be slightly damaged because it needs to have your energy in it, just like the pyramid. So there's a little bit of damage there, but you can fix it. And they were right. I knew I could get my hands on a little bit of stone mortar and put it all back together, and so I did that. And I also was encouraged to use some rocks that are indigenous to my area as well. So I did that, and I placed it out there. And that was just before the second video was captured. And so now I've got a pyramid, I've got fairy houses, I've got a nice cord of wood back there, and a little fire pit, and it's just a lovely, enjoyable place to spend time. And when I went to the trail camera to see what new videos may be on it, 99% of the time they're raccoons and squirrels, and once in a while a coyote or two, or even deer in my area. But that's when I saw the 5 columns of white light. And my experience with that is simply this. Through my channel practice, there is a mantis by the name of Ella. And Ella has been building a very strong relationship with me lately, in conjunction with Nathan, who's an Arcturian. And Ella would like to meet with me. That's what the channel information has been coming through. And that's in conjunction with my initial desire to want to meet with an extraterrestrial. And so I don't know for certain if Ella's in one of those columns of white light, but the 4th column of light, when I look very closely at it, first of all, it feels extremely female to me. It feels extremely female to me, not specific to any type of species, but just really strong, wise, and certainly loving female energy. And then when I watched that actual column of light move in the video, I see what appears to be the outline of a female body, very slender, and almost like she's wearing a full-length robe with a hood. And I can see what appears to be arm movements under the robe. Now, I could be wrong, but that's exactly what I'm interpreting. And through that interpretation and an additional channeling, it is Ella. It is Ella that is here. And although she's in spiritual form, in her interdimensional form in that video, It is the beginning phase of her manifestation into the physical form. And the other two columns of light on the left and the other two columns of light on the right are other beings that are there utilizing their energy to stabilize her ball of energy so that it makes it a little easier for her to show herself on the video. And this is one of the difficulties that these high dimensional beings have. They can manifest into physical form, and there's many accounts in history of people meeting them in one form or another, and not just ETs, but ascended masters, prophets, elementals, the list goes on. But for me, that is a very difficult effort for them. That's what I get from them. It's like almost like when humans have a near-death experience and you watch their stories being told, their testimonies, what a lot of them describe the feeling of leaving the body of is elation. It's freedom. It's, oh, I'm out of here. And when they're told they have to come back, the best one I've ever heard is, getting back into your body, this person said, was, from a near-death experience, was like putting on very wet and cold coveralls with nothing else on your body. You're naked and you just put on this wet, full-length coveralls, and they're wet and they're dank and they're cold, and it's not a lot of fun. And it's like that for those beings. For them to come down from higher dimensions to come down to the third dimension means that they have to slow their vibration rate down to create solid form. And it's a difficult task. It's certainly within their wheelhouse to do, and I can't understand for a second or even try to interpret what that's like for them because it hasn't been shared with me. But the difficulty and the uncomfortableness is something that they struggle with, I suppose, to some extent. So it's highly respectable for them to come down and make this attempt based on my desire to want to meet them. And so that's my interpretation. I'm not saying that it's correct. I'm not saying that this is how it's going to turn out. I'm just sharing you these videos as they become available as part of this journey. And I don't know where it's going to lead to or how it's going to come to fulfillment. But we will see as we move forward into the future. But again, as I close off this coffee chat with you, I'll replay those two videos again at the back end and watch them and utilize your gifts to interpret what is happening. And if you have anything you'd like to share with me, I'd be more than happy to listen and to read your comments. Again, because your perception is as valuable as my perception, but my interpretation doesn't necessarily mean it's the only one. So I'll leave that with you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you would like to see more of these, hit the subscribe button. And if you're interested in a private one-on-one session where I can channel for you with one of our extraterrestrial friends in terms of helping you with pivoting in your life and answering questions that you may have in that respect, I'll leave a link down below where you can find more information on that. In the meantime, take care and have yourself a wonderful week.